And hello everyone, Gabe the Izzard here. Today is a chilly day in November and I am doing a tour of Hillcrest, the old township of Pulaski Heights. And it all begins right here at the Union Station. This used to have a streetcar. This was actually the end of the Little Rock Township down at Victory Street, which I'm on the corner of 3rd Street. Victory is a couple blocks down there, and that was the Mopac station. I'm getting all this information from this book I found, Little Rock Driving Tours of 3 Historic Neighborhoods. I won't be taking a carriage, I'll be taking my little mule. But the streetcar was down, station was down here, and it was right here in the foreground of the Arkansas State Capitol. When it started being built in 1903, the streetcar being opened in 1903, the Capitol wasn't completed yet. It was under construction. The Capitol did not get completed until 1915, but it served a street line. They had to build a viaduct, which is basically a bridge, over the railroad tracks. The railroad tracks come in this way, and they built this bridge so that the trolley could go over the railroad tracks and serve Pulaski Heights, which is this area right up here, leading in to like the Hillcrest area. And that's what we're gonna do at this old retro filling station, which has been converted. We're gonna go and check out some old Little Rock, still Little Rock, old Pulaski Heights. Go ahead, tag along. Traveling over this 3rd Street viaduct, the railroad is directly underneath us. The streetcar was built, and they made this road connect on a slow grade so that the streetcar could go up this hill, because this is a very hilly area. But it connected Little Rock to the, now it was the blind school, but they also made it the school for the deaf. And from the school for the deaf, it followed right along this path up here to Stiff Station, which would be a let-off point for the streetcar, and then Markham continues straight and Kavanagh veers to the right at a slow grade, and that is where we're heading. So the book that I have is a driving tour, and it goes through Hillcrest, and you can see how it makes its way up Kavanagh and goes along the route that we're going to go through Hillcrest. Gives a little history about Hillcrest. But it's meant to be a driving tour. Those are the places we've been. School for the Deaf. And also it shows houses. It's a house tour. So this house, which is located at 1100 Kavanagh, is the Volkmer McKinney house, built in 1911, and it is right there. It was built for Joseph Volkmer, who was in the lumber business and occupied the house for about 3 years. And this was on the streetcar line. It would have ran right here in front of their house. But here it is, still standing today. A beautiful English Revival or Tudor style house. Next on the list is the Robinson Beale house from 1914, 1417 Kavanagh, built in 1915. They're having a parade in the middle of this. But this was built for Charles Robinson. He was a doctor, and he lived in the house until around the 20s, and eventually it was made into apartments. Bonus footage, they're having a parade. The next house on the list is the Reed house from 1911 at 1425 Kavanagh, which is directly next door to the Robinson Beale house. This was designed by Charles Thompson for a congressman, a U.S. congressman from Morrilton, and he lived in the house for a good bit, and then it eventually became an 8-unit apartment complex. Santa. Of all days to do a house tour. Next house right here is the Pierre Bathurst house, circa 1910 to 1911, being built, 1433 Kavanagh. You can see right here, it stands basically in the same look as it was then. This was built for Celsus Pierre. He was a officer of the Union Trust. I'm assuming a Union Trust company. I'm assuming that's some sort of a bank. And this is a medieval English style house here at 1425 or 1433 Kavanagh. And the trolley would still be going up this gradual incline. According to this book, the town of Pulaski Heights was incorporated in 1905, and the boundaries were basically Lee Street as the southern border, going all the way up to what would probably be called Cantrell. I don't know if it was called that before. And then a lot of these houses were built in the 1890s and early 1900s. And these are some of the houses along. They're not on my route of driving tour, but it's still a really nice area, and I've done this walking tour up Kavanagh, so you can always refer to that. Next house on the list is the Rattan house, circa 1893, 506 North Elm Street. And again, these houses have been basically kept in their state of build, which is good. It's a Queen Anne style house. It was built for Mr. and Mrs. Albert Rattan, and it was believed to have been designed by Little Rock's own, well, maybe wasn't born here, but Charles Thompson, he designed, was architecture for a lot of houses. Look at these magnolia trees. Here on the corner of Lee and Elm. On my way to the next, might as well let you see what's going on Woodlawn. I'm heading to 4220 Woodlawn Avenue to the Sloss Isgrig house, which is a craftsman style built in about 1920, and it's coming up here. This is the house. You can really see it. That's it right there. And then that's it right there. Still has that rock archway. With the clay shingles. And this was built for the Sloss, which was president of the Southern Mutual Life Association. And then directly across the street, I wish it would focus. Maybe it is focused, I just can't see. That is the 1421 Woodlawn Avenue. It's the McEachin house, circa 1926. You can see there, maybe two little points in the chimney. There it is, right there. Built for Mr. and Mrs. Grover Cleveland Eachin. Grover Cleveland, that was a president, but not this one. It's an English revival. And it has lots of crazy details with the slate roof, the arches over the windows, the slanted roof pitch. Really cool. They were contractors that worked in excavating and sewage work. And here at 4303 Woodlawn is the Lloyd house, circa 1911. And it is basically identical to the picture shown in this. I think these are around 1989. American Foursquare house. I don't even know what that means. Colonial revival style. And as I make my way down Woodlawn, here's Pulaski Heights Presbyterian Church. A lot of houses staying updated. And here on the southeast corner of Ash and Woodlawn, 523 North Ash, but they've changed the address. You have this building right here, which this is called St. Mark's Episcopal Church from 1906. Now it is referred to as Hillcrest Chapel. Right there, but you can see it still kind of has the same look as it did back in 1989. And right here we have the Siegel Donham house, circa 1914, 800 North Beechwood. There it is in the old rock and clay. This was made for Judge William Dunham, who lived here until late 1918 when he died. There's a sign right there that says it's the Siegel Dunham House. It's a colonial revival style, but it's called the American Foursquare. But it's got a lot of architecture and that sweet wraparound porch. And it's right here, kind of on a triangle of Beechwood and Now I'm approaching the next stop, which is the Gordon House, circa 1913, 822 North Beechwood. And I'll get over here for the reveal. There it is, right there, in all of its rock, stone, stucco glory. The Gordon House was another American Foursquare with prairie influence, predominantly in the craftsman style, built for Robert Gordon, who was a salesman, and designed by Robert Morrison. Lots of sounds in Hillcrest today, sirens and whatnot. But this is the view. Next stop would be Allsopp Park, which was dedicated in 1931. But I actually have Allsopp Park is a expansive park with lots of trails. I've done a walking/running video through there. You can always go check that out. I'm not very good at putting cards or links in my videos, but if you go to my YouTube page and type in Allsopp, you will find it. Now I am going to walk back to my vehicle, which I'm about a mile from. It's starting to rain, and I'm gonna go view the rest of these. I'm on the north side of Kavanagh right now. First time since I started this video. There's lots of cool little bungalow houses here in Hillcrest and around the city. And I'll tell you what, out here at 11 o'clock, you can smell lots of places to have lunch, and my belly is rumbling. Hill Station right there. This would be where the stop up here on Kavanagh would have been, because you would have to have had stops if you were riding on a streetcar. Hill Station. Good news for all the people that love ice cream. The old Damn Good Pies place is gonna have a loblolly. Yummy to my tummy. For those that have stuck around so far, today is Friday, November 8th, 2024. There's another bungalow. Like the stonework and those archways. Very nice kept lawn, and I'm wondering if it's because of that guy. God bless Little Rock. Beautiful town. You should come up here and walk around some. Of course, the city contracts it out where they come through and just murder these trees because of the power lines. They just decapitate them. But other than that, wonderful place. Next stop is the Butterworth House at 4301 South Lookout. 1913 is when this house was built, and here it is on the corner of Waite and South Lookout. It was built around 1913 for Asa Butterworth, vice president of an engineering firm, and it was designed by good old Charles Thompson. This is a bungalow. Gonna come back over here so I can actually see it, but it has a cool front porch and the second story roof access. Looks like it might need a little work, but there it is. And now we've made our next stop at the Boone House, circa 1920, 4014 South Lookout Street. Look at this cool A-framed roof chimney. It's in the process of being revitalized with new windows and whatnot. The men are right there in that trailer working, actually. But this was designed by Charles Thompson for Daniel Monroe Boone, who was a banker and into real estate and estate business. English Revival House, 1920s vintage. And Daniel Boone was the guy's name, and he moved here shortly after World War I. And one cool thing is, it's right across the street from Allsopp Park. Like if you just walk down there into those woods, that's Allsopp Park. Through those woods is Kavanagh Boulevard and Hillcrest and all of that. But it's a nice street with some super nice houses. On the
next left,
bottom side of Allsopp Park, which is right there, going up Oakwood Road.
Proceed about half of a mile to North Pine Street.
And we're going to go up the hill, hence the Pulaski Heights. We have to go up to be high. Next stop is the Bagley House, circa 1918 to 1919, 3800 Hill Road, here on the corner of Pine and Hill. This was built for the circulation manager of the Arkansas Gazette and secretary of Beach Abstract and Guarantee Company. So he was in real estate. Beautiful big rock house. Has stone terraces, clay roof. This cool stone fence. With the iron letters. Really nice property here. And if you do this drive, you're going to see a lot of cool houses along the way. Even across the street is a nice little bungalow style house with stucco, nice porch, rock wall, retaining, with the hum of generators in the background. And just a couple blocks away is the Kahn House, circa 1922 at 3504 Hill Road, built for Alfred and Bess Kahn. You can see it right there, standing magnificently here on Hill Road. Stone, stucco, and slate roof. Looks like they are neighbors with the former Lieutenant Governor Win Rockefeller used to live next door right there, and then they live next door to him. There it is, the Kahn House. And then a few steps further, the Tucker House, circa 1925 at 3420, was built for Henry Tucker. There you see, this is an English Revival house with its rock wall here, keeping people at bay. But it was made for Henry Tucker of Phones. He was the secretary of Phones Brother Hardware Company. It's amazing what a hardware secretary will get you. But it's a really nice house here on Hill Road. It's had a few owners since Mr. Tucker. This will give you a perspective on why it's Pulaski Heights. There, you can see we're on top of a hill. You can see way down there. It's a nice vantage point. It's not like overlooking the river, but it's a pretty steep hill. It's a lot of elevation going down right there. Here at 816 Midland is the Huron Collins house. Another one of the popular bungalows. It first served as a residence of Mr. and Mrs. William Benzerg, who lived in Pulaski Heights for just 3 or 4 years before moving back to Little Rock, way down the hill. Colonial Revival Cottage. And you can see they're kind of smaller houses, but we're on the top of the hill right here. The hill goes down that way, and then down that way. Right here on Midland. And we have the McDonald Hamilton House, 1910-1911 at 3304 Hill Road. Take a look at that beauty right there as I pan up to see the real deal. It's right there, made for Mr. and Mrs. James Smith McDonald. It's never left the McDonald family and presently owned by his grandchildren, well, as of 1989. Colonial Revival with craftsman features. I love the glass porch right there up on the upstairs. But it's right here on the corner of Midland and Hill, Martin and Hill, which the waterworks department is right over there. And that also has like a little lookout. You can watch the sunrise in the morning. And this retaining wall. He worked for the Chamber of Commerce until his death in 1956. I'm going to trek down this very steep hill next to these sweet little cottage bungalow style houses, fig tree. Down here to a pretty grand house, considering like this right there. This one right here is the Clancy Flickinger house, circa 1910 to 1911 at 600 North Martin Street. This guy built lots of spec houses, and this is basically an American Foursquare. Is with these huge trees. These are massive trees. And this is on the corner of Kavanagh and Martin. Cool retaining wall. There it is in all of its glory. With Old Glory, as a matter of fact. Right there. Now we find ourselves at the Sloss House at 3230 Ozark Avenue. I think some call it Ozark Point. There's the house as it looked, and then there it is as it is. Pretty good sized property with these. This is a English Revival with the clay roof, and the Sloss is on this from the Arkansas Water Company. They took over management, or they own the property, and then it was purchased by the Sloss from the Arkansas Water Company, which is right behind it. I just said that earlier. But it's got big stonework there, arches, and a porch. I always love these stairways that lead up. I'm glad that it actually leads up to a house. I'm not 100% sure that anyone lives here. It looks sort of, I don't want to say abandoned, but in a less than stellar shape. This is beautiful. I almost think this is my most favorite one. Those faux timber. It even looks like it has a swimming pool, maybe with a gazebo right over there. And next is the Nowak house, which is just right here across the street at 3233, built in 1929. There it is. I couldn't find that actual view, but I'll circle the house. Here it is. Spanish Revival style, was built by A.W. Sloss, which lived across the street, and wanted to make sure that he would like the house he looked down on, which makes a lot of sense. Like, why would you want to look out of this grand house onto a piece of dung? But it is not a piece of dung. It is actually quite cute. I'll walk around. This style of house was only popular in parts of the city. This Benjamin Nowak lived here, and after his death, he operated the Hillcrest Bluebird Beauty Shop, or his wife did. She sold it to the present owner as of 1989. A better shot of what the house actually looks like from the front. It's got this huge hedge here. I'm having to do a little extra arm work here. But what a beauty. Now instead of a streetcar, you just get on the bus, Route 1. Back up the hill. This ain't no joke. That's the back of the Sloss residence where the waterworks department is. This hill is steep, as it's called. At the top, it's called Hill Road. And our next stop brings us to the back house, 1938 at Fairfax Terrace. It says number 1, but it's actually on the corner of Ozark Street and Fairfax. This is a Art Deco, Art Modern with some cool, tall stuff and a dog looking at me. Nice lawn. This was Howard Eichenbaum designed the house. And I just had a word with the homeowner, and she actually knew a little bit of the history of this, that the Eichenbaums were the designers of it. And she was just finishing off the leaves that Jesus had blown up into her beds. Just a little pan of the neighborhood. Waterworks at the top of the hill. And I've made my way over to 450 Midland Avenue to the Storts house, circa 1927. There's a shot of it right there, and how it is now. A nice stucco, rock, beautiful house with some scariness on it. This was built around 1927 for Joseph Storts and his wife Jeannie. It's a English revival. And they lived here until the 1970s when his wife died. It's got a nice little bungalow here to the side. Looks very English countryside-ish. I've been to quite a few estate sales. One was in that house right there. Another was in the house next to the one I had just shown. I'm not too sure what the style of these houses are, but they look like those colonials and then bungalow craftsmen. Just a lot of different type of architecture. And that was one of the things that I was speaking to that lady about at the wherever that was, the last Spanish Art Deco, was how so many houses in here are completely different. Nice castle looking house. I'm making my way down Midland right now. If you just want to walk down Midland, you'll see some really great houses. And the last house on this tour is going to be the McCain Bellingrath house, 1922, 401 Midland. There's the shot of the house. It was designed by John Parks Almond, not of the Almond brothers, but of the architecture, for Charles McCain and his wife. He was he organized the Bank of McGee. They have a cool little free library. This is a French eclectic, which I could see that. I love these stair steps. This goes up here. Nicely manicured lawn with these wonderful crepe myrtles. Some might say my birthday bush on this wonderful street that leads out to Markham and up to Kavanagh. Huge pine split midway up. What caused that split? I don't know. But it says I'm gonna take out this sidewalk before I go down. Tall chimney, steep A-frame. Pretty cool. Well, that's gonna do it for today. Thanks for watching. And then a miniature history lesson. All because I bought this book at an estate sale. Could have been at one of these. Cheryl Griffith Nichols, thank you for putting together this book. It was procured by the city of Little Rock, so she might have got a little something out of it for the Little Rock. I like this one. But that's gonna do it. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later. Huge pine tree.